I would like to look at a couple of the actual amendments on this. I've unfortunately been here a number of times, spoken, or heard other people speak, heard stories like this many a times. Some of the biggest problems are, first of all, it's not any of you to decide how much I see my child. It's not up to a lawyer. It's not up to a judge. If I want to be a father, if Sandy wants to be a mother, she should be allowed to. And that nobody should be able to decide that. But some of the problems that occur in divorces are, number one, your visits are denied. When your visits are denied, there's nothing you can do. You can hire the same lawyer, you can give him more money, you can maybe get a court date, but the visit's over. That visit never comes back. But somebody profited off of it, more than likely a lawyer, gave a judge a job, but the kid missed out on that weekend. If the duty of the sheriff was followed here, that he would assist in the visitation, that visit took place. Now, the lawyer didn't get paid. The judge didn't have another case, but in the past we've heard that they're overworked anyway. This would just simply clog the legal system. Well, we don't have to now. The sheriff made sure that the visit took place. And it would be the duty of the state's attorney to charge. I bet we wouldn't have too many of those visits denied after they were charged the first and second time. As far as the rest of the bill, I don't expect it to pass. I think we all agree that when you were married, if you saw your kid every other weekend on Wednesdays, you'd be called a poor parent. However, when you get divorced, that's what you get. Every other weekend and Wednesdays. For all of you that are married, you probably wouldn't, if your spouse, if you have children, if that's all they were available, you probably wouldn't be very happy. But that's what you get as a non-custodial parent. You get the right to pay child support. I'll give you an instance in my situation. My children's mother was choosing to move to Massachusetts. I didn't give permission, nor was I going to give permission. I advised my local law enforcement that I would not be handing them over and allowing her to commit a crime. Leaving the state without authorization or with a court order is a Class C felony in the state of North Dakota. Well, the local sheriff's department said if I didn't return them, I would be charged. Okay. I asked what would happen if they leave. Well, we'll charge her. I said, well, have the state's attorney call me. First, Brandy Russell Sassy called me and said absolutely they'd be charged. Okay. They left the state. That went well. Now I got a new state's attorney because Brandy Russell Sassy said, no, we're not going to charge. It's civil. I went 5 years without seeing my kids. My daughter came and moved in with me 2 years ago. My oldest daughter's away in college. My son I haven't seen in 2 years. I still pay child support. The only thing I don't have is visitation. And when you call anybody for help, meaning the state, meaning a lawyer, this whole system is about making money. Whether it's the lawyers, whether it's adding more judges, the state receives money for federal grants for child support for every dollar they collect. It has nothing to do with the kids. Nothing. Sure, there's bad parents, and there's parents that are not going to take advantage of this. They don't want to see their kids. You know what? The law doesn't change for them. But it certainly does for the parents that want to see their children. And none of you have the right to tell anybody how much they want to see their kids. And if you think you do, that's crazy. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Questions? Thank you. Further testimony in support of House Bill 1350.
My divorce was about 8.5 years ago, and as we were sitting in the court and two very well-paid attorneys were just determining what my visitation was going to be and what role I was going to play in my children's lives, I realized that my job is that of the workhorse, being a steady horse opposed to heavy load. The judge looked at me and said, Mr. Kusler, based on your job, your current position, and the amount that you travel 60% of the time, it would not be in the best interest of this court for you to have full custody of your children. We're not saying that the home would be equally as safe. We're saying based on your occupation. I said, okay. I'm gonna have to reinvent myself and determine a way that I can provide for my family and still make a living and still pay child support, of course. So reinvented myself with a new position here in Bismarck. Worked 60 hours a week, no travel. Went back in front of the court system. Mr. Kusler, we don't think that joint custody is good in this case because of the amount of hours that you work. But I'm not traveling. I mean, what? It doesn't make sense. You told me that I needed a job or I wasn't going to travel. My custody would improve. And what continues to happen since then is my rights as a father keep getting impoverished. My child support goes up. One of the things that Ryan touched on that is so true in my case is set visitation. Well, she only makes it there about 30% of the time. You know, we've got family things to do. We have this to do. I'm sorry, I forgot. Well, if my backup plan is the Burley County Sheriff, I'm guessing she's not going to forget very much. I added up my legal bills over the last 8 years. Custody, trying to get my children to child support, to all these things. I almost lost my house because I was spending so much in legal money and getting to see my kids a minimal amount of time. I don't get that time back with my kids. It took me almost 16.5 months to save my house, just so I could sell a place for my kids to come. Yet my custody and my time with my children doesn't change. My issue is this. If the system wants to paint everybody with the same brush, as opposed to painting us with, we don't want to be fathers, why not start from the beginning at 50-50? And then you can pick out the bad apples, the people who aren't willing to live with their responsibility. But I'm penalized every day for two things. One, I have a job that I work a lot of hours at. And number two, I'm a dad. And I want to be a dad. You know, I don't think that this collectively is going to be the answer for any of us. I mean, I think it's a great starting point. But what needs to happen is not only this needs to be broken down into committees, where there's all sorts of people who have an opportunity to speak and to brainstorm. I'm going to be honest, this isn't going to be solved in this room today. It's not going to. But a great place to start would be joint custody from day one. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Are there questions for the committee? Questions? Thank you for appearing today. Further testimony?